Welcome back to another race commentary. This time we're jumping right into the third annual Tomhawk Cup event for September 2016. I'm in the Variated class alongside Christophe Nollet in the Black Peugeot, Ryan Mayer in the Wonderbread Motopecan, and Shane Johnson in the White Motopecan. You can find the rest of the contenders and their bikes in the description below. So, this is my biggest race of all time since it determines whether or not I can receive the self-title of Moped Champion in the United States. I've come a long way to beat every other rider in the US at all the other Moped GP events and other racing events. Christophe and Ryan are the last members holding the fastest lap times of victories since 2014 on the Grange track. I'll be commentating a little bit differently for this episode by highlighting some major thoughts on my part as well as thoughts from the other riders. If you remember the 2014 episode where I went through how to go through this track properly, quote unquote, I'll be following most of the same lines but with a more aggressive mentality. I'll explain a little bit more of this as the race progresses. Finally, please enjoy the Dashware and telemetry as well as the rear view camera. Alright, so I'm coming to the end of my warm-up lap. I'm starting in pole position since I was able to qualify first in Heat 1. Heat 1 wasn't particularly a demanding race since I felt Christophe and Ryan were more or less taking it easy to solidify their positions on the front grid. Nonetheless, I wasn't taking anything for granted and I prepared myself for a good long battle for first place. In the back of my mind, I knew Christophe and Ryan, Chris especially, have a greater acceleration off the line, so I was sure to gear shorter since I couldn't even reach top speed on the straights. The advantage here? Well, I was able to gain more acceleration out of the exit of the corners, so we'll see how it does for me off the line. Making sure everyone's lined up. Flags up and out. Alright. So I actually get second position coming into turn 1 and 2. Christophe's in first place with Ryan behind me. So Christophe is probably taking his first lap not as aggressively as he thinks he can. I'm going all out here trying to get into Christophe's line, make the most of the speed that I can get. Once I'm able to get in front of them, I should be okay. So that's my main goal for here. Get in front and then just keep pulling away. I know this long left-hander is very good for me, so I'm going to try and cut in on the inside for Chris. And he won't let me through, so I'm going to have to brake hard and get out of the way. Ryan behind me coming up close. So I'm getting around. We're going to end lap 1 right here. And Ryan passes me on the straightaway. Now, I didn't realize this until after the race, but my tire had been rubbing against the swing arm the whole time. So that actually was slowing me down in some of the corners and especially on the straightaway. So regardless of that, I didn't know, but kept on pushing through and made the best of it. Since I was determined to win this race and Ryan and Christophe were probably going to pass me on the straight the whole time, I knew I had to keep up all of my pace and speed in the corners. So I'm following Ryan very closely here, and Ryan is trying to cut in and make sure that I'm not getting around him. He's trying to set the pace for me, but I have to push the issue and make sure that he stays close to Christophe so that way I can pass both of them at the same time. Trying to cut in on the inside of Ryan here. And I get a little bit too close, grab his tire. So coming down the straightaway again, they're pulling away just at the very end of the straight. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, okay, as long as I can keep up the speed at the first part of the straightaway where the finish line is, I don't have to worry about them passing me at the end of the straightaway. So I just have to get a good sizable lead at the very last corner. This right-hander here helped me a lot. I can take out the inside of that right-hander and then cut in from going wide and go straight to the left into the S turn. So I can get a lot of speed on there over Ryan and Christoph, who seem to take that turn a little bit too early and probably lose a couple tenths of a second. So getting really good speed here. Gonna go for another outside pass, but I can't. Ryan closes the door on me. Trying to get it on the inside again. And come in here. I overtake Ryan just a little bit. I don't think we touched, so he gave me the right of way. And I'm looking behind me here to try and get Ryan to not overtake me as easily, but he gets around. Top end is just too much. So at this corner, often I made sure that I was braking much later than they were and taking it as tight as I could. It's an off-camber turn, so it's pretty risky to take that turn very aggressively without falling over, but try to do it anyway. So just following Ryan here. Now, where I'm looking on the track is not at Ryan, I'm looking past Ryan. This is why I'm able to go in on the outside and overtake Ryan over here. So when you're racing yourself against other people, make sure that you're looking through the corner. If you're trying to overtake someone, you cannot follow their line. If you're following their line, you're just going to be right behind them the whole time. So you got to be creative and get around them, taking a completely different line than they are. So I'm looking past Ryan and I'm trying to get around him and take a different line than he is. So getting more speed here than Ryan. Is braking too much or not getting on the throttle early enough. So I'm just getting a little bit faster than he is. Again, on this S turn, I'm getting much more speed here. Get a little too close. I don't think Ryan saw me, so that bumped him off, and I'm able to overtake him here. Trying to get as much speed as I can so I can catch up to Christoph. Maybe this is an opportunity for me to get in front to grab first place. And here we're reaching lap traffic. This is probably my favorite part of the whole race. So Honest Mike screaming at us as we're passing by him and lapping him. Alright, so we all get around lap traffic. Doesn't slow any of us down, more or less. Ryan overtakes me again on the straightaway, so again I have to work really hard to make sure that I get in first place before the last turn on the last lap. So I lose a little bit of the front end there. Again, make sure it doesn't phase me and just keep going right through it. Ryan taking a very defensive line, going slowly through that right-hander and going very slowly through the top of the hill. So that bumps me off, forcing me to brake, get out of the power band, but launch lever, get right back on it. Slip on the front end, hitting the stripes there. So that forces me back just a little bit. And I'm taking third coming into this lap. So lap traffic guys are kind of in my way, but I kind of force one off from the inside and get around the other, exiting the corner. Ryan gets a really good exit out of that corner. So he's pulling away from me. And lap traffic guy actually slows them down enough that I can get super close to them again. So this is probably the part that a lot of people forget. You may have your battle with somebody, but that battle may end up a little bit differently depending on how lap traffic goes. And here I get a really good bit of acceleration, bump into Ryan, and he lets me pass through onto this right-hander. I almost overtake Christoph and Ryan at the same time on that corner, again because I can carry so much speed through that left-hand turn. So because of that, Ryan actually was losing some pace, and I was able to maintain second going down the straightaway. So now I'm just concentrating on Christoph again. Not worrying about Ryan. Ryan can do whatever he wants. Try to get Christoph here on the inside, but he has more acceleration coming out of the corner. Less speed here for Christoph. I'm still trying to overtake him through those S's. Trying to get it on the inside. Cut in. Oh! Christoph just bumps right into me. So I want to note, it wasn't deliberate on my part, and, sorry Christoph, but that is racing. What Christoph probably could have done was kept turning left instead of trying to force me out of the line. We were both fighting for the same position, essentially, in the same area of space, so either one of us should have kept turning or moved out of the way, but it is what it is. He couldn't handle his front tire hitting my rear tire, and he went down. So we get around this next lap, and Ryan overtakes me here. Ryan constantly checking back behind me because I think he's a little worried I'm going to bump him off too. But if New Jersey Mini GP told me anything, it's just stay aggressive, fight for first place, fight for any place that you can get. So Ryan taking a very defensive position again on this right-hander, going up over the hill on the left-hander. He loses some speed, and I'm trying to pass him on the outside on this downhill part, but it's really difficult to hold that speed and position going downhill. Attempting an outside pass, but I don't have enough acceleration and speed. And he blocks me on the inside of that turn as well. So Ryan pulling away from me on the straightaway once again. And we're coming up to another guy who we will be passing as lap traffic. Ooh, I lose the front end there, go off the track for a bit. Again, that corner is very tricky. It's off camber, and it will throw you off if you are leaning way too far. I get a little bit of sloppy there on the S turn, but I'm banking on lap traffic, holding back Ryan just a little bit so I can catch up to him. So Ryan gets a little caught up, as do I, but I have a little bit more acceleration than those guys, so I could get around them quickly enough. And I think it kind of spooked Ryan a bit because he was going a little bit wide there on that last turn. And it's the final lap. He's got a pretty sizable lead from me. So I was thinking the whole time, well, I might have blown my chance, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to try as much as I can to get closer to Ryan, and maybe I can overtake him. We'll see what happens. Braking really late here, but Ryan's just pulling away on this right-hander. Trying to go as much as I can. Tire is sliding everywhere, by the way. He's going a little bit slow on that S turn. And I catch up to him here. He took a very defensive position there and slowed down a little bit too much. So I'm close to attacking position. I've been trying to take him out on the right side, on the outside, maybe get on the inside. Yep, good pass, good pass. Sliding there, nice and clean. So now at this point, as long as I can hold these last 2 turns, I should be golden. Hold on to the left-hander. Last corner, and Ryan seems to be sliding out, and that was it. A little bit celebratory there. And that's it. That was the whole race for Variated class. Super exhausting, very intense the entire ride. Video footage does not do it justice. So, again, thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to check out the other videos, and I'll see you guys later.